try this one. Thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay. Actually, I'll be right there. Just peek at that while I'm here. All right. So, good morning, everyone. This is our first time trying the Resident Association meeting via Zoom. Can people give me a thumbs up that if they feel like they can hear me pretty well? Okay, good. You are all muted, so we will not be able to hear you during this call. Just this one camera here has sound. So during the call, you can use a function at the bottom of your Zoom screen called chat. And I will be on my laptop monitoring that. So if you're having some technical difficulty, if you can't hear the speaker, if you have a burning question, please use the chat function. It's at the bottom of your screen. You might have to put your little mouse over it. It says chat, and you can either send it to me, the host, or you can send it to everybody, and you'll see that function there, and I'll be monitoring that. In addition, this meeting is being recorded, so we'll be sharing this at the end. You do have the ability to stop sharing your video if you'd like. Let's see. I'm gonna turn this over to Diane. Again, I'll be on the laptop over there, and let me know via chat if you have any questions or concerns. All right, thank you very much.
Good morning. We're here in Kendal Hall for our first time that we've had a Residents Association meeting for quite a while. You've all had an opportunity to see some of the updates that we've been shooting from here, but we thought it was time to try to return to having our regular Residents Association meeting. And as always, we are going to begin now with a moment of quiet. Thank you. First thing that we're going to do today is have another farewell, but also send our best wishes to Charlotte Seibold, who is leaving to become the executive director up at Sunnyside. So Charlotte, come on over.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Just to quickly say farewell to you all. I hope to be back as soon as I can once hopefully COVID's no longer a thing. I look forward to seeing all of the residents and staff that many of you have become friends, and have an opportunity to see how the construction finally shapes up. But, you know, thank you all for all that you've done for me over the years. As I say, I've developed a lot of friendships. I've learned from so many of you all, and really do look forward to keeping in touch. So I send my best. Thank you.
And before you go too far away, I also want to express our thanks. Some of the residents and I have talked, and you were the marketing director when we first came here, and we all felt that you welcomed us and gave us such confidence in taking that big step to be here. And now you have Jessica taking over your role and doing her fine job. So we thank you with our heartfelt thanks, and we wish you the best wishes. Thank you. It's interesting to be here in the room because we're all spaced out all over the room, but you heard some applause because there are some people who are on the agenda today. As we proceed through the agenda, we're going to be doing it quite like we do at a regular meeting, that will have different people step forward. We're going to have administration, folks from our administration talk first, and then we'll have the reports from some of the committees later on. There may be a little bit of time lag between the person getting here, but we've been trying to prepare, and bear with us on trying all of this. I'd like to say a few comments before we begin some of the reports. Our last meeting here in Kendal Hall was in February. We canceled our March meeting because that was when we started shutting down. It has been a very fast-moving thing that we've done here. Now, construction has not been as fast during this time. But I want to thank all of you for how you have all participated in helping to keep our community safe. We are blessed not to have any coronavirus here on the campus, and that takes everyone to do this. We need to still hold off and not go do some of the things that we're really itching to do, because we all have to think about each other. I want to thank so many people, and it would be all of you, for what you've done, but I'd like to especially say appreciation to all of you face mask sewers, coordinated by Laura Walker, the communications that Ted has put together with all the additions of extra, to John South for helping to getting up the Katie Web portal, which is a wonderful way of communicating. And John's going to talk in a little bit later in the community in our program about that. And for some of the activities that Paul and Ed and Victoria and Christian have planned that we still can do. And Judy, we thank you for the marvelous job that you have done. Do you know June 10th, I think, was the day that we first began eating upstairs? And we are coming up to 1 year that we still aren't there, and you have still fed us beautifully, and we thank you hugely. So a lot of the things have happened. Mina has left in a few minutes. Jan is going to come up here. And our staff has been fabulous. I wanted to tell you how much I appreciate how much has been given for the Staff Appreciation Fund. In December, you all contributed $65,500, and the maximum check that a lot of people got was, I think, $587. The total to date is $81,950. That is phenomenal. And I thank all of you for expressing your gratitude to our staff with that kind of solid support. And a reminder that you have until June 8th to get in the check, and that will still go into the pot. The checks will go out on the 12th next week. I'm pleased to announce that a planning committee met yesterday, made up of 4 residents and some staff people, key staff people, to plan what are some steps in the future. And Jan is going to talk about that now. And Jan, we welcome you. And we're so grateful that you came to take on this huge challenge right now in the midst of all of this. It's a huge job to be the CEO. And it's even harder given the coronavirus. So we thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Diane. It's truly a pleasure to be here. It's nice to be with all of you again, even though we are still stuck in the world of Zoom. I have had the opportunity to meet some of you in person, but unfortunately behind a mask. So I have no idea what you look like. So putting a name with a face is still a challenge for me. It's nice to see that many of you are getting outside since the weather is becoming nicer. And I'm also excited to know that many of you are gathering in small outdoor groups and have really started the social engagement train moving forward. Speaking of social engagement, we have started the wheels turning to move into KLEX's steps to regathering. A planning committee of both residents and staff met yesterday and discussed next steps along with a timeline for independent living. We are going to use the word step instead of phase so that no one gets confused between our plan and the governor's plan. We expect to communicate the details of step 1 to the residents and staff by early to mid-week next week. Step 1 will include a soft opening of the fitness center with restrictions, outside fitness programming, the art studio and workshop by appointment only, outside gatherings of 15 or less people, and the use of Kendal Hall for movies once again for 15 or less people. As we discuss opening our campus, please keep in mind that we will continue to enforce the wearing of masks, social distancing of 6 to 10 feet, the use of proper infection control practices such as washing hands and the use of sanitizers, and limiting your trips off the campus. We will also remain closed to non-essential visitors until further notice. Our continued success in keeping the COVID virus off our campus will depend on all of us adhering to the basic rules that I just stated. If we would have an active case hit calyx, we will have to tighten up and move backwards instead of forward. Please note that the Borden and Webster centers fall under different regulations and will not be opening, and we will not be opening either of them until further notice from our regulators. Although Governor Northam is moving forward for most of the state of Virginia into phase 2 today, we will be moving at a more conservative pace due to the vulnerability of our resident population. We do appreciate your patience. I know that many of you are a bit stir crazy and ready to get back to a more normal lifestyle, and I am right there with you. Now for a little construction update on phase 3. The Borden Health Center work is proceeding, and the addition, especially the therapy addition, drywall is in, and the contractor expects to turn the therapy space over to us in July. The 4 600 hall rooms have been turned over to Kendal with receipt of the county approval. We are in the process of getting a waiver from Virginia Department of Health to utilize those rooms prior to required inspections. The Webster Assisted Living, the addition has cabinetry being installed and painting taking place. The renovation from the nurses station through room 226 is proceeding, but mainly at this point in time, it's demolition and other work occurring. Anderson, the dining addition and renovation is substantially complete, but needs final approval before formal use of that space. The courtyard patio and sidewalk work is completed, and the area up to the garden has been graded out with the topsoil. This area has not had a substantial or final inspection. The gazebo and trellis work for the patio is planned to be completed in the next 4 to 5 weeks. The library doors have been delayed due to delays in getting the necessary hardware, but we do anticipate this to be completed in the next month. Sunrise Ridge, the bioretention pond work is progressing. Please use caution. Do not walk in that area, and please use the sidewalks when walking on the unpaved portion of the road. The excavated material is being placed on the back side of the swap property per the construction documents. Major excavation should be completed this week, weather permitting. We are waiting on DEQ review and approval of revised plans. This is needed for the soil amendment and pond conversion to take place. So that will not be happening before we get that approval from DEQ. Paving of the remainder of Sunrise Ridge Circle will not take place until all work is completed in the Anderson Courtyard. Final work on the emergency access road and Pond 1 and 2 conversions. As this work is done, the topsoil piles will be removed and the areas will be vegetated. A reminder to all that these areas have not been accepted by Kendal and still are considered construction areas. This means that we are not done working with Nielsen and Spectrum to rectify issues. I realize that this project has been going on for a very long time, and many of you are ready for it to be over. I have been here a total of 5 weeks, and I am ready for this to be over. I can't begin to imagine how frustrated people are, although I have heard from some of you. Trust me when I say that my goal is to get this done and get them out. But that being said, It needs to be done right, and Julia and the team are working hard to move this along and hold all parties accountable. Please allow me to continue to work with all to not only understand the issues, but to work for getting a plan to address the issues. Lastly, I want to thank you for joining us for the 5 minutes of silence yesterday at noon. As Sean Kelly stated in his letter to all of us, Kendal encourages and welcomes all people. Kendal values quality of life and fostering a sense of community. Kendal values integrity and seeks to live in harmony with the truth. Let's continue to stand together and call out for a better way. Thank you.
Good morning again, and I hope everything is going well. The technical aspects of this call, it appears to be, which makes me very happy. Last I checked, there were over 70 different participants connected to this. So I'm thinking over 100 residents or so are listening in on this, which almost is what we typically have because we have a capacity here of 120. So I thank you all for participating in this, and I'm just very happy that the technical gods are on our side today. I wanted to let you know that there has been a lot of movement on the marketing front. As many of you know, there have been some folks moving out, some folks transitioning through the community, and some folks have passed away. And that means that the next step is for marketing to attract new residents to move here. So we're at about 94% occupancy right now to date, but we have about 11 apartments and cottages that are in play, meaning some of them are still open and we're looking for folks to move in. Others are folks from a cottage, maybe moving to an apartment. And then we have 3, an apartment and 2 cottages that folks are moving from the outside community. And one of them is scheduled for July and the other 2 in the fall. And I'll let Katie talk a little bit more about those cottages. But my team has been working so hard, even though we can't have visitors on campus and ask you all to shine like you usually do and impress them and get them to move here. We have been able to keep the communication open, some through Zoom, with email, with phone. Kevin and Katie have done a wonderful job with that. And it's just amazing that we've been able to get 3 reservations in the last 6 weeks, despite folks, not really being able to be connected to us like they used to. Kevin will talk a little bit about other ways that we're staying connected, but I just wanted to let you know, I think we see a real positivity. Of those 11 that are in play, 6 of them are available for folks to reserve. So we have some cottages, mostly cottages, and then we have 1 apartment that is going to be opening up soon. So we're working hard to publicize that. But of course, if you all know folks in the community that maybe have been dragging their feet a little bit, please have them contact us and be happy to talk to them about those cottages and 1 apartment that is available. I'd like to turn it over to Katie. She's going to talk a bit about a little more going on with our department.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, as Jessica said, the marketing team continues to stay pretty busy despite not having the visits and meals and everything that we usually get to do with you all. We really miss you guys, but we also miss getting to do those tours. I want to start off before I start talking about what's been reserved and everything. I want to start by thanking all of you first for dealing with these dining orders that we do. Between Judy and me and everybody else involved, we really appreciate everything that you guys do. I know it's not always easy. So if you have any problems whatsoever, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Another one went out today, so take a look in your email for it. But also talking about now marketing, Kevin has hit the ground running despite many people not getting the chance to know him yet. We have gotten 2 waitlist agreements in May, one from Crozet and one locally here in Lexington. And then we're expecting one more to come in within the next few days from Basking Ridge, New Jersey. And Jessica said we have reserved 3 spaces. We've reserved apartment 318. It's one of the ones that was in Cox Hall in construction. Kind of slowed the progress with that one, but we think that we are finally good to go, and we have had that one reserved. He is expected to move in July 1st. We have also reserved cottage 124 and cottage 99, and they both will hopefully be moving here in early fall. But stay tuned. Like Jessica said, if you guys know of anybody that we should reach out to, please let us know. But we'll continue to do our part to maintain full spaces here at Kendal. I'll turn it over to Kevin.
I had to leave this mask on just long enough for folks on Zoom to see it. I've gotten so many compliments on my mask. This was made by Katie's mom. Superman. Well, as Jessica mentioned, since we currently can't invite prospective residents on campus for an in-person tour, we've been working hard on finding ways to keep them involved, interact with them, and keep them thinking about Kendal at Lexington. One of the newest things we've done is invite some of them to sitting on this meeting. They're watching us and listening right now. Also, we've created webinars along with some sister Kendal properties, webinars specifically designed for prospective future residents on topics of interest to them. In April, we had a meeting with author Brad Breeding. His webinar was called How to Plan for the Future in an Uncertain Environment. And then just last week, we had a webinar with author Judy Brown. Her webinar was called Navigating Changing Times. It was very inspirational. It was a 1-hour seminar. And if you like motivational speakers, we're going to actually send out a link to a recording of that webinar to our residents. Again, these were designed for prospective residents, but it made me feel so good. I said to Jessica, we need to show this to our current residents, or at least give it to them and offer the opportunity for them to watch it. So be looking for an email from me with a link to that. We're also planning a resident panel series for our prospects, a series of Thursday morning at 11 a.m. Zoom meetings. They're scheduled now for June 18th, July 9th, and July 30th. Each panel will feature 8 to 10 Kendal residents. Jessica's already started inviting some, discussing and answering questions on various topics like living at Kendal, what it was like before COVID-19, how it is now, explaining the continuum of care model, as well as the modified care agreement that we offer, downsizing tips and advice. For many, that is the hardest part of moving to a retirement community, how to part with some of the furniture and some of the stuff that we've accumulated over the last 50 or 60 years. Now, even though it is the marketing department's job to sell the benefits and the value of living here, we know the best salespeople for our retirement community are the people who already live here. So thank you for that. Finally, thank you for sharing your stories of staying home, KLEX style, that we've been posting on our website and on Facebook. Your stories of the things that you do, your hobbies, your areas of interest are inspiring to us all, and they help prospective residents looking at our website or looking at our Facebook page to see what an active and vibrant community this is. So keep them coming. That's it from me. Up next is IT Manager Greg Marcellus.
Good morning, everyone. If you haven't met me yet, I'm Gregory Marcellus. I'm the new IT manager. I'm originally from Florida. I grew up in North Florida, Jacksonville, and Islamorada, Florida, down in the Keys. I recently was at Senior Connections, which is an area agency on aging. Our sister agency here around here is the Valley Program for Aging Services. You might know them better as the VPAS cafe in Lexington. I'm married. I have my wife, Michelle. She's an agent for PMA, Washington National Insurance Company. 2 grown daughters. Kelsey works for the DMV, and Julia lives in Richmond with her husband. The priority right now for the IT department is the wireless networks, of course. And we've contracted with IT Savvy. That starts next week. They're going to help us to balance that wireless signal so everybody gets a good, strong signal. And Josh and I are working on resolving the setup issues with the resident network up in the cottages and all across the campus, while keeping up with our current break-fix operations. My Savvy Tech item for today, instead of a computer issue, is if you have glasses like I do and you have one of these normal masks, you know that it fogs up. If you give it a twist on your ear on each side, it pulls it down and doesn't fog as bad. I look forward to meeting all of you and seeing you around campus. Have a good day. Who's up next?
Judy.
Judy's up, coming from dining.
Good morning. How you all doing out there? We get to see you occasionally running the buses and stuff, so it's always good to see you guys. From a dining point of view, we've always had so much communication and interaction with you guys. It is sorely missed. My cooks are running around cooking food, and they're like, where's he going? Who's eating it? So we do indeed miss you guys, the interaction, the fun times, my sarcasm. So speaking of communicating, keep your emails coming. I don't get to see you face to face, so if you have wishes that might work with the menu, keep those suggestions coming. I added on a sandwich for the next 2-week cycle. Fresh fruit is coming in, so we're going to do a nice fresh fruit salad instead of a green salad. Some of those were suggestions from you. Some of them are just, 'tis the season. It's, you know, coming into a great growing season. What else do we have going on? I'm working with John on Katie, so I have some training coming up for that next week. We're going to do an ice cream truck sometime in June. I don't know if that date's been firm. We were going to do pre-order, but I didn't meet that deadline. So with some communication, so we're going to work on that as we move into opening the dining room, which will be at a snail's pace. And keep in mind, it's still a construction site, so please don't plan any meetings or use of that area until we actually open it. Yes, you see staff dining in there, but they are staff. We're more concerned about the independent residents buzzing through there and making sure the floors are dry and everything. So please, if you can, stay out of the dining area per se. As we do move to open, it's going to be very soft. It's going to be very slow. Bear with us. Keep in mind, my staff has not been downstairs for over a year, or it will be over a year by that point. And right now we have shorter days because we're not serving any dinners. So they all need to be retrained. So when we do get back there, and I'm sure we will, don't know when, but I think 2020 sounds like a good year since we left in 2019. So bear with us and keep your emails coming, your suggestions. I can't do preferences for 180 bags. I want just oranges. I want just apples. That will not work. Keep your medical information coming. That I need to do. If you have any questions, email me. My email is on the menus. Katie, thank you for all your help with those. I don't know a thing about SurveyMonkey, so I let the powers that be that know it do it. And marketing's been huge. Herbie's been huge with the bus. It really is a team effort. You guys are doing the right thing, minimizing your trips going into town. So stay safe at home till we see you in the dining room. Shake it easy.
We do thank all of the staff for the wonderful job that they have done during this period when everyone's had to adjust and shift to different kinds of responsibilities, and we're still well taken care of. I've heard so many of you say how grateful you are that we are here and that we do have some opportunities, even though it isn't quite all of the activities that we're doing, but there are some activities that have been going on, and we're going to go to committee reports right now. One of the things that has been going on during this time is that John South and some other residents, and along with Jessica Bueller doing the lead on administration, we have finally gotten a resident web portal up, and John's going to talk a little bit about it. I know that some of you are up on it, but we want to keep on encouraging you. So John and Jessica doing a screen share are going to show you some of Katie Web. And then we'll hear from some of the other committees that are doing some activities. So, John.
Thank you, Diane. So Katie, there's more than one Katie here. There's a Katie sitting over here in the room, and she spells it the right way with a K, and our Katie is spelled with a C. Our Katie has been up. This is the end of the 6th week that we've had Katie. And we're just at the beginning of what Katie can do for us. What I'd like to do this morning is, encourage everybody to give it a try. If you haven't tried it, give it a try. You'll discover that there are things in there that are very useful. And more important, over time as we go forward, there will be more things and will be more useful as we get dining information on there, as we get a calendar for events and so forth on there. So just by way of introduction, you ought to see on your screen right now what we call the home page of Katie, and this is going to give you a little idea of what's available on Katie. If you look at the left side of that screen, there's a stack of different items on there. They're called service links, and probably the one that's been used the most so far is the community directory, where you can look up your friends and neighbors, see where they live, get a little bit of information, their email, their phone number, and so on. Over time, we will expand that. We actually started without photographs, and now we have photographs for all but about 3 or 4 residents on there. And also on that side, there are links to other things. We mentioned videos, that this is being videoed. There are links to videos of what we have had here before, and there are links to all the connections articles that have been published this year and all the extras. There's now a link to lists of what the standing committees are and who's on the residence council. And as you can tell, there's a lot going on here. We're always running to catch up and make sure that we have all the information available to our residents so that they can be informed. The next thing we're probably going to get up there is a staff directory, and then we'll be able to get information about that face that you don't recognize. We'll probably start without faces, but we hope to have faces and how to contact those folks. So that's the left side of the screen. If you look at the center, that's the area that we call the carousel. And the carousel is just a rotating number of information pieces and images that are provided to make it a little bit more interesting. Over time, you'll begin to see other things on there like today's menu or things that are going on in events and so forth. And at the bottom on the left-hand side, we have what's called a status indicator. And the thing that changes the most there is for those residents that live, they get their mail in Anderson. When the mail comes in, it switches toggle and you'll know that the mail has arrived. So you don't have to come up wondering if you're gonna have to make another trip. In the right-hand side of that, there is an area it's called a bulletin board. And as new things are posted on there, or as new things are posted on one of the links, we will send out a bulletin. And you need to delete the ones you've already seen, because if you don't, the latest ones are going to be at the bottom of the list that will not appear. But that bulletin leads you to things that are posted and then tells you how to get at it. There'll be a section underneath the actual headline that says what to do to get to that bit of information. And then finally, over on the right-hand side, is something called the video gallery. Right now, there's not much in that, but as time goes forward, we'll be adding to that as well. So stay tuned for more on Katie as we add dining information, we add events And over time, we will add ability to sign up for transportation, ability to get to work subs so you can get maintenance done, get to housekeeping and so forth. In the long term, this will be a key element for good communication on our campus. If you have questions or suggestions, please send them to me. My address is on Katie Webb. I'm the community director. Thank you. Now I'm going to turn it over. I think Paul Cormier is going to talk about C&E.
Well, on behalf of the Cultural and Entertainment Committee, I want to thank all those residents who participated in our scavenger hunt the last week. We're happy to report that over 32 people did wander the complex here looking for those 22 items that you were given clues for. I have to report that the flower pot bicyclist went missing the day before we started, but luckily I was able to track him down and get him back in place before the hunt started. And I know some of you were a little confused looking for that green glass ornament up in Sunrise Ridge. It looked green to me when I wrote it down, but somebody told me it was actually yellow. But being colorblind, it was green. But I think most of you figured that out pretty well. And of course now, some of you, at least 32 of you, know that where the secret garden is behind Sunnyside. If you would keep that a secret a little longer so that it doesn't become an open knowledge of where this little garden is. Now, we appreciate everybody wandering around because I think if you completed the whole hunt, you saw the whole area of Kendal, Sunrise Ridge, Sycamore Lane, Anderson, the backyard. And so you've really experienced everything we have here, and that was our objective. And the good news is that those who actually completed and turned in their sheet will receive a prize. And here we have the official scavenger hunt ice cream coupon. Now this cannot be duplicated, it cannot be transferred to another person, but you will receive one of these coupons, everyone who participated, and will be put in your distribution box. And you'll have it in time for when the Good Humor Kalex ice cream truck comes around on June 18th, you'll be able to turn this in and get your free ice cream cone or whatever you select. So make sure you keep a hold of this and turn it in. Otherwise, those people who did not participate, they're gonna have to pay some big bucks for that ice cream from the ice cream truck. But anyway, unfortunately, the Culture and Entertainment Committee has not been able to schedule many cultural events, obviously, during the past couple of months. But, you know, the good news is there haven't been any cultural events. So you haven't missed out on anything. So that's why we're trying to focus more on the entertainment part of our committee. And we hope to continue that and maybe have another scavenger hunt in another few weeks as well. If you have any ideas of what you want to do to keep entertained during this period, send me an email, let me know, and maybe we can implement that for the rest of the community. Thank you. And I will be followed by Ted, who's rushing up.
And try to get my mask out of the way. Hi. I'm really kind of a representative for the other committees, the resident committees, and I want to put in my pitch that a lot of things at KLEX only happen because residents do it. There are no staff positions to support resident activities, and if residents don't step up, it doesn't happen. First, I'm representing the Sustainability Committee. There are 14 of us. We're meeting again with a couple of months hiatus, but we're now meeting via Zoom. There's 14 residents. Herbie is a member when he can make it. Megan Fetzner comes also when available. The date and time we meet is in flux. Contact me if you're interested, and I'll keep you posted. Our ongoing activities that can include everybody are largely recycling efforts. We collect old shoes that in the alcove, there's a tub. They get first taken to Lexington Running Shop, where they can take repurposable shoes and have them be reused. I think it doesn't matter. Anything that is not usable by Lex Running Shop and their supplier, goes to the Nike store in Charlottesville. Nike grinds them up to make playground surfaces. So as long as there's no wood or metal in the shoe, it can be as grubby and ratty as you want. Put them in the tub. We collect ink and toner cartridges and use the Staples recycling program as individuals here, and get benefit that supports what residents do. The ink recycling keeps the copier in paper. It has provided the new printer for the library and paper for the library catalog and things like that. So it relieves some strain on the RA budget, as well as being a good thing to do just to recycle things. You know about the salad dressing and RARA efforts that have recently started, and encourage you to do that. As a committee, we also seek to educate and encourage recycling, although we're frustrated by the shrunken markets for recycling. We're concerned about climate change, and several members are participating in a couple of different Kendal system-wide meetings that deal with that issue. We're supportive of a composting effort that Herbie's trying to get started on campus. Hope that will be expanded before too long. We work with Judy regarding emphasizing using recyclable and environmentally friendly products in dining services. And overall, our mission is guided by the active interests of our members and by residents in general from a survey that we did about 2 years ago. And we operate in the context of Kendal core values. Then I come back on as the convener of the newsletter committee. Our mission is to produce the monthly connections, and in this interim period, we're doing the extra editions. It is of, by, and for the residents. The only way administration gets involved in this is the printing of paper copies and then the electronic distribution, other than Katie, to get it out to people. The distribution list for the monthly one is quite broad. It goes to residents and staff and board. It goes to marketing prospects, goes to relatives of residents. And marketing repeatedly reminds me what a great marketing tool it is, even though it is not purposed as a marketing tool. We've resumed meetings also. There are 10 residents who are members of the hardcore committee and some folks who do the proofreading. We ordinarily meet once a month on the first or second Monday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and now via Zoom. It is a working committee, not just an advisory one. And the roles vary from copy editing to planning and tracking submissions, calendar blurbs and calendar layout when we have a calendar, and the layout of the actual editions. There are many residents who write regularly or occasionally, are not on the committee, they're authors, and we need those, so please write things. We say of ourselves that we have a winning team, but a very shallow bench. We are very vulnerable to the disability of any of our players. We really do need more folks so we have people to back up and share the load. I would also add in committees that what doesn't get volunteered for doesn't get done. Nobody gets assigned a task that they don't really want to do. So don't be afraid to get on a committee. If any of the aspects of what the newsletter committee does is of interest to you, contact John, South, or me. And that was more than I was going to say when I stepped up here. It's now back to Diane.
Thank you, Jen. You've done a wonderful job on helping us still to communicate as we go through this. And I thank all of you for adapting to this current situation. Something I wanted to add also in terms of jointly, C&E and the resident council have been having some teas in small groups out on the back patio at Sunnyside. And we had some this week, and we will have some more next week. And ma'am, we will have some for you too. So that's coming. All we need are some days without rain, and days without rain help construction possibly too. If you have any concerns or you want to say anything to me let's keep on working together to work as a community to help keep each other safe and to think of things that we can be doing during this time. And with that, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you. I thank you all very much.